Good morning, and thanks for joining us on TVC Breakfast. It's a beautiful Monday morning. I'm Ibrahim Shita, and I'm the only one in the studio. I have with me Olamide Adeyemi. Olamide, it's good to see you this morning.
Good morning, Ibrahim.
A beautiful week. Starting a new week, and then there's a whole lot to be done this week. There's a whole lot to be done on the program.
Week, another opportunity.
A whole lot of things happening in Nigeria. So today we'll be talking about the fact that the insecurity in Nigeria is being overcome, it's being overcome, let me just put it that way, as said by the Inspector General of Police, with the information that we have that police say that they've arrested 296 kidnappers in 6 weeks, and then the issue of insecurity is actually coming down. Also, we will be talking about the readiness of states for the payment of 70,000 Naira minimum wage. But then let's start off with the fresh 58 trafficked Nigerians rescued in Ghana, according to the to NIDCOM, saying about 58 Nigerian women and children have been rescued from human traffickers in Ghana, bringing the total number of rescued Nigerians in Accra in the last 3 months to 105. According to the Nigerians in Diaspora Commission, some of the suspected agents have been apprehended and handed over to security agencies and the National Agency for the Prohibition of Trafficking in Persons, NAPTIP, for necessary profiling and prosecutions. This latest rescue comes about a month after the federal government rescued at least 10 Nigerian teenage girls, ages between 15 and 16, from human trafficking and prostitution. Well, that's very clear, because people will be wondering, why is it that we have a lot of people being trafficked, especially those who are vulnerable, the women and the children? Some of them will be promised, we'll give you greener pasture, because if you look at the high rate of poverty in the land across most of the African nations, there are people that will be promised that will take them to certain countries, and then they definitely will be exposed to something better, a better life on the other side. But at the same, but what they have inside of their own mind, the traffickers, is quite sinister and diabolic, because some of them will take them to places where they will harvest their organs. Some of them will sell these people out, because it's a form of slavery, form of slave trade, which has been something that has been a lot of problem for Nigerians and those that are non-Nigerians. And NIDCOM is really, and NAPTIP as well, they're really on top of the situation in rescuing most of these victims.
Of course, NIDCOM is on top of its game, but according to the MD CEO of NIDCOM, Dabi Erewa, she mentioned some major factors, fueling this situation, about the fact that some of them take advantage of the economic situation to lure some of these girls. She also mentioned different ways that you can identify some of these persons, especially when you see an adult, taking a lot of girls across the border. It should be a source of concern. On their documentation, there are several, form of misidentification, calling them sales girls and others. It's also important to acknowledge the role of NAPTIP and also NIDCOM, saying that they rescued over 10,000 persons from Libya. And this brings to the fore majority of the conversations that we should be having about, addressing some of the environmental factors in the first place, because she also mentioned that another thing that is affecting the effort is that many of these girls go back even after they're rescued. And so that's where rehabilitation, reformation, and reintegration into the society comes into play.
That kind of a thing is actually called Stockholm Syndrome, when someone, whether you're kidnapped or you're taken somewhere away, the next thing is you start to sympathize with the person who has actually kidnapped you or trafficked you, because you feel the person is, you're kind of attached to the person. So just like you said, education is very important, because
and if you're not given, a proper welcome, they're not properly welcomed into the society, it also affects, I'm sure that also
that kind
affects
of,
the correctional facilities.
Exactly. So, there's a lot of things. One of the reasons can also be adduced to political instability and conflict, but Nigeria is not experiencing that. But you can talk about Sudan, you can talk about some other countries on the African continent. Economic inequality and gender inequality is also one of the reasons why these things happen, where you have traffickers targeting vulnerable individuals, including women and children, who are seeking a way out of difficult circumstances. Cultural, social factors, like talk about some communities, like where certain practices or beliefs may make individuals more vulnerable to trafficking. Like those will be saying that I'll take you from the village to say, for instance, Lagos, or I'll take you from Nigeria to London, or
so most of these persons prey on the ignorance of some parents.
That's right, and desperation.
Yes, who decide to let go of their children. But then the AU summit began yesterday, where the president met with other leaders of the continent, and it is expected to address the majority of the issues affecting Africa as a whole, economy, regional insecurity, and this is where human trafficking should come under.
It's not exclusive to certain, individuals, but because it's very important to also mention here that, it can happen to anyone regardless of their background or circumstances. It's definitely a serious violation of human rights because if some people are taken by force, some offer to go because of the lies that they give to them, and so so it actually requires collective efforts to prevent and combat it, just like we're talking about it now. Because I know that every time we get this information, we often come on a show like Breakfast Show to talk about this, advocate against it, try to educate people, and I think NIDCOM is also doing a lot to reach out to the Nigerian youth, especially women and girls who are seeking way out of the of economic difficulties that they they perceive to be very, very difficult for them to, surmount. Even the young guys, the youth who are also, they are versatile, they are creative, they are, strong. They are also wanting out of the country, and they want to go through any means to get out of any of, their localities, because what they feel, they are seeing people on the other side who are probably not showing them the stress they are going through, but they are making them feel like it's really greener on the other side. But it's not always greener on the other side.